Hello everyone, my name is Anthony Giordano, and today we'll be taking a look at the game Sea of Stars. If you haven't played it yet, Sea of Stars is a turn-based RPG based on the RPGs of old. Think your Secrets of Mana or Chrono Trigger, like SNES style RPG games. Now, Sea of Stars is a bit different than those games, in the fact that Sabotage Studio, the company behind Sea of Stars, decided that when they were making this game, they wanted it to feel nostalgic in the ways of those old RPGs, while having the modern characteristics of newer RPG games. So, as an initial look at this game, I want to first look at the industry surrounding the game. And for us, that involves looking at who was the developer, what was the publisher, and what were some of the decisions behind distribution and marketing for the project. Well, I think it's good first to look at some of the history behind the game's development. Sea of Stars was developed by Sabotage Studios, an indie studio out of Quebec, Canada. They were established in 2016 and saw their first game release in The Messenger in 2018. After the success of The Messenger, in 2020, Sabotage Studio announced that they were working on their second game, Sea of Stars, which wouldn't be in the same style of The Messenger, which was to a lot of people's surprise. It turns out that they wanted to make Sea of Stars a prequel to The Messenger, a game taking place in the same world, but in a completely different gameplay style. This is something that really hadn't been done before in the industry, and especially from an indie developer, people were understandably excited to see how this was going to turn out. As I mentioned earlier, their approach with Sea of Stars was to make an RPG inspired by the classics, such as Chrono Trigger and Super Mario RPG. Before we get into the marketing, I want to take a quick look at something cool surrounding the marketing for Sea of Stars. Game Informer magazine actually released an article surrounding the development history for Sea of Stars and a couple interviews talking with some of the creators. I just want to read off one specific line I thought was very cool. Even before development officially concluded on The Messenger, Sabotage was already thinking about Sea of Stars. Internally, it was seen as the big reward for the potential success of The Messenger. Similar to how The Messenger had been funded, Sea of Stars was also funded through a Kickstarter campaign. While initially they had requested a lower amount just to get the game made, Sea of Stars quickly passed every single funding goal and managed to raise over $1 million to support funding of the game. This was achieved through the game's heavy promotion on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, as well as Sabotage Studios' presence throughout multiple conventions, both in person and online, heavily promoting their game. This made a lot of sense for the studio because after the success they saw from The Messenger, they had a lot of loyal fans heavily anticipating the release of their next project. No matter how long it was going to take to release, they were there to support it. In the industry, I think this is something that's really important because it tells us that not every game has to be AAA. There is a lot of support for indie developers as long as it's proven that they are able to put out a quality product that stands toe-to-toe with the AAA games. Finally, we get to the publishing and distribution methods for Sea of Stars. Unlike with the first game, The Messenger, which was developed by Devolver Digital, Sea of Stars actually was managed to be published in-house by Sabotage Studio, since they had created enough revenue in order to publish the game themselves. Sea of Stars' strategy initially was to release digitally on every platform possible. They released on PS4, PS5, Nintendo Switch, and PC all on the same day. But what I think was really smart of them to do was they released day one on Xbox Game Pass. That meant anyone who was subscribed to Xbox Game Pass could access the game for essentially free because they already paid for the subscription service just to try it out. And when I say try it out, I mean play the full game. But they know that not everybody is comfortable with digital games yet. So that's why earlier this year they decided to release a physical version of the game for all consoles. Thanks for listening. I look forward to sharing more about Sea of Stars with you very soon.